Okay, we can start now. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So welcome everyone to the third meeting for the Medical Pioneers Club. I'm super happy all of you guys showed up. And I'm really surprised that this is the third meeting. And for today, as you guys could tell, we have another guest speaker. Her name is also Anna, like our previous guest speaker. She'll be sharing really useful information with you and really helpful advice and knowledge with all of us. And before we want her to start right away, but before you guys get to watch her present, I would like you guys to, in the chat, write your name, your full name, because the chat will be recorded and that's how the attendance will be taken. So just put your full name in there and then that should be good. And while they're doing that, I will make you actually, I'll make you, one second. Anna, I'll give you the ability to share your screen.
Sounds good.
I think it worked. Just make sure. It should be on the bottom of the screen. Yeah.
Can you
That's
see it?
perfect. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'll mute myself and turn off my camera. I'll also be watching the chat to see any questions, and then I'll be sharing with you the questions with Anna at the end. So without further ado, just take off.
Awesome. Hi guys, my name is Anna. As your club host just introduced me as, I'm really happy that he gave me the opportunity to be here and talk to you guys, because when I was in high school, I wish I would have had someone that would kind of just talk about what it's like once you leave high school. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit, I'll introduce myself a little bit more. I'll touch up on some majors and minors that are in college, what pre-med classes look like, and of course, my college experiences. So a little bit about me. I'm a senior at the George Washington University, which I'm sure most of you guys know about since your high school is actually in Virginia. I'm majoring in exercise science with a pre-medical concentration, and I'm minoring in psychology. Where am I from? I was originally born in Venezuela in South America, but now I live in Miami, Florida. And then a little bit about my career goals. Post-graduation in May is I want to pursue a master's of science, and then I will be applying to medical school, MD and DO both. I don't really have a preference, but my ultimate goal at the end is to be a pediatric anesthesiologist. So a little bit about majors and minors. So in the screen, you can see biochemistry, kinesiology, which is also known as exercise science, and engineering are some of the more common majors that you'll find once you get to college, depending on what college you go to. For me at GW, it's a very politically driven school. So if you're not in the science world, I guess these are not the most common ones, but from the people I take classes with that are pre-med, pre-PT, pre-PA, these are the most common majors. So I put little notes down here, they're common. Engineering is not as common for people that are gonna go into medicine and want to be practicing physicians, because it's a lot of work. And so once you get to college, you'll realize that if you're not really passionate about your major, then you need to do something about it. And then there's kinesiology, which is exercise science, which is what I'm majoring in. It's really fun. I'm not biased, I swear. So my biggest advice to you guys coming with majors and minors, you can major in whatever you want, whatever you like, whatever you're passionate about. It's a misconception, and it's not true that you need to major in a science major in order to go to medical school. Your pre-med classes, which is known as a pre-med concentration, which is the classes that you need to take in order to get into medical school, are completely separate from your major most of the time, unless you're a chemistry or biology major, and so your classes overlap a little bit. But at the end of the day, your major does not determine whether you're going to get into medical school or not. You can major in whatever you want. I have a pre-med friend that's a business major. I'm a health science major. I have friends that are bio majors. I have friends that are engineering majors, but on a pre-med track. I have friends that are art majors, music majors. I have one friend that's political science because she really likes politics, but is on a pre-medical track. So you can major in absolutely whatever you want. And then minors, there's a less of a stigma to minor in something that's not science related or science related. It really just depends on you. But minors are kind of like overlooked. They're still pretty important, and it shows that you are a well-rounded student. But it doesn't turn a lot of heads when you minor in something that's not science, whether as if you major in something that's not science. Minors are basically picked up from things that you're really interested in, but you can't major in it because you don't have time. Obviously, majoring in something requires a lot more classes than minoring in something. And so a lot of people pick up minors in things they're passionate about, but cannot put as much effort and time into it. So for me, it's psychology. I've always loved psychology ever since I was in high school. I took AP Psych. I loved it, and I knew that I wanted to do something with psych when I got to college, but I wasn't sure what it was. And at one point, I wanted to double major in exercise science and psychology. But doing that, plus taking my pre-med classes, plus extracurriculars was a lot. So I decided to just minor in it instead. And I still had a lot of leeway in choosing the classes that fall under that minor. And I'm still taking psych classes that I really like and psych classes that allow me to explore, and it's a minor. So, and minors are usually about 9 classes, so that's like 18 credits. And so it's not a lot, especially if I came into college with my AP Psych credit, and so that already knocked off one of the 9 classes. And so it hasn't been at all extremely hard for me to minor in psychology while doing my major and my pre-med classes. So the famous pre-medical concentration. So a lot of schools have a concentration that's called a PreMed Concentration, which just means that you're on the pre-med track. They lay out this track for you so that you're better prepared when you start applying to medical school, and that you get these classes in an adequate amount of time, and you're not like stressed, especially because the intro courses, for example, like bio and general chemistry, are prereqs for organic chemistry, and then biochemistry and physics. And so if the college that you're looking into doesn't have a concentration, don't worry. It doesn't need to be a concentration in your college, but right here, as you can see on the picture, I've laid out the pre-medical concentration that goes along with the Bachelor's of Science in Exercise Science for GW, actually. And so these are all the classes that I have to take in order to be able to apply to medical school, because medical school requires for you to take these classes in order to apply. There's actually some medical schools that are steering away from having a requirement, and they actually state that they don't have a requirement, but of course you at least need to take biochemistry in order to be competent once you get to medical school, because already taking these classes and going to med school is hard. And once you see these topics again in medical school, they're still very much challenging. So I don't know how it would be had I not taken these classes in undergrad. There's 2 classes missing here from like the better known, I guess, concentration, which is the first part of bio. So this, I don't know why GW's only has the second part of bio, but actually most schools ask you to do 2 years of bio, 2 years of chemistry, 2 years of physics, and then one semester of math. And by 2 years, I mean 2 semesters. I'm sorry. My brain just totally shifted. And then at GW, biochemistry is actually not part of our concentration, and organic chemistry too is. But some schools like Boston University, which I'm looking at, allows you to replace organic chemistry too with biochemistry. So I took both, and when I apply to medical school, I will just ask them to look at the higher grade between the two, which is really nice because some people are good at organic chemistry and some people are good at biochemistry. Personally, I'm not good at organic chemistry. So it's really nice that some schools will let you substitute classes. So for my college experience, I laid out a couple of do's and don'ts. We can go through the do's first. So make friends from the get-go. Whether it's friends in your pre-med classes, friends outside of your pre-med classes, in your dorms, which don't exist in this COVID world, but hopefully in a couple years or months when you guys make it there, your dorm will be a thing. Your neighbors, the people in front of you, the people you run into in the streets when you go out to your first gathering, make friends. Obviously, you're not going to have all these friends throughout 4 years, just like high school, you shift friends and stuff. But I found that going away from home was tough, and making friends for me was like my fallback. Another one is meet with your advisor and set up a 4-year plan. GW's School of Public Health, which is where my major is, actually does this for pre-medical students. As a freshman, my first semester freshman year, my advisor laid out a 4-year plan for me where I had in every single semester what classes I needed to take for my major and the pre-med concentration in order to be done with it by the time I graduated. And then of course you can shift things around depending if you come in with AP Chem credit, AP Bio credit, some things will shift around. If you change your mind midway and don't want to do that major, you can always change it. I added a minor, which was psychology, so I added some classes. Of course, it's not a set in stone thing. It's more of an idea of what the next 4 years are going to look like. And I don't know about you guys, but I personally like to have things in as much order as I can. And so looking at my 4 years from freshman year put me in a position where I handled my school, my time, my friends' times, my sleep, self-care, and I never lost that along the way. And then explore what you like and don't like. Like I said, pick up a major that you're gonna enjoy, take classes in different things that you think you might enjoy, and then see how that works out. GW has scribe classes, EMT classes, music classes. We have a health and fitness section where you can take spinning, yoga. When I say explore, is actually explore. Like go out and put yourself out there and find what you really like and what you enjoy, because if you're doing and studying things that you enjoy, you are going to feel so much better than if you are dreadfully majoring in chemistry and hate every class. It's going to be bad. Figure out what kind of environments and study habits suit you. I've always been someone who likes to study alone, and my freshman year I started doing group studying, and turns out it didn't work well for me. And so I went back to lonesome studying, and then I'd go to group stuff after I've studied on my own. That personally is what works best for me and what I do in order to perform best. So figure that out. If you think you've figured it out in high school, either way, try new things so that you know that those things work or don't work, and you maximize like the way you study and the way that you handle your school. Office hours are super important. Professors, I feel like in high school, your teachers tell you that in college, they're not going to baby you, and these professors, and they kind of talk about professors like these mean, evil people. And while in college, you really do not get babied, Most professors, I'd say, not all, but most professors do care about you, and they do care about how you're doing in their class. And so if you're struggling, you failed your first chem test and you don't know what to do, and you want to drop everything and you want to leave pre-med, take a step back, breathe, go to your professor's office hours and say, Professor X, I didn't do well on my exam. Please, what can I do? What do you recommend? And they will help you through. I don't know how many times I've told myself I'm going to drop pre-med, and I'm months away from graduation and I'm very much still pre-med. And a lot of that has been going to office hours and letting professors calm me down and not being consumed by a grade, because I'll say it now, grades do not define who you are, and don't lose sight of that ever in college, even though it might be kind of easy. And then at the end, have fun. Go to the gathering, go to your friend's house and watch movies, spend a night with your roommates, putting on face masks, playing video games. Sometimes you're gonna have to miss out, because if my organic chemistry test tomorrow and my friends are hanging out tonight, I obviously have other things to do, but don't always make it about school. If you always make it about school, there's gonna be a point in time where you are going to break. So don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to make time for yourself and time to hang out with your friends, because once you balance school and your own time, you're going to be less miserable, and you're going to be less annoyed / mad / angry when it comes to studying and taking the exam. And then my don'ts is huge: do not fall back on assignments or materials. I don't know how many times I have not gone to a class and said, oh, I'll watch the recording, it'll be fine. I don't watch the recording the same day, and I don't watch it for like another week. And then I'm like, oh my God, I should have just watched it, because now I'm not ready for next class. And then it's a cycle. So try really hard not to fall back on your assignments and your material. Go to class, even if it's that 8 a.m. that you are dreading. Show up, ask questions, do your assignments, because you will be thankful for not falling behind. Which leads me to my next point, which is cramming. There is no cramming in pre-med classes. Maybe in bio, because you already saw it in high school. Cramming for organic chemistry is a no-go. Cramming for biochemistry is a no-go. Physics, no-go. General chemistry, you also saw it in high school. So I guess maybe it depends on what your foundation is. You can cram / procrastinate a little tiny bit, but don't do it a lot, because 2 nights before your exam, you're going to hate yourself for doing that. So don't do it. Like I said before, don't miss out on big events and experiences, because at the end of the day, these experiences is what makes you you and what makes your college application. In my college application, I'm talking about how I play the guitar, how I've gone to hospitals and played music for kids at hospital, which initially had nothing to do with medicine. I just played the guitar in my own time. It made me happy. I went to concerts with friends. I played guitar at some school events, and then it led me to ending up in the hospital. Of course, doesn't always have to be hospital or medicine or science related, but medical schools want to see more of who you are. Like, they already know that you're interested in medicine, and they already know that you took the classes. Now, what part of you haven't they seen? Like, what part of you is not on your resume? What part of you is not on your transcript? And a lot of that part of you is shaped by your experiences in college. I mentioned before, don't let one grade define your passions. My friends and I have said I'm going to drop out of pre-med so many times, and we're still here, and we're graduating pre-med. You'll get tough grades. There will be tough days, tough nights. You might feel burned out, but don't let that define your passions, because at the end of the day, we all struggle, and your journey to medical school, this is my favorite saying ever, is not a sprint. You're not sprinting, you're not racing anyone to get there. This is your journey, you're walking it, you're enjoying the view, you're looking at the flowers, you're going through storms, but you'll make it anyway. So come that one grade that you don't like, and think of me and say, oh my God, that one girl who spoke at my meeting that one time in high school told me not to let it define me. And so don't, because if this is really your passion and medicine is really what you want to do, and pre-med is what you see yourself doing in college in order to get to your career goals, then you will make it there. And then my last one is lose sleep, make bad eating habits, and let the stress consume you. That does nobody good. I think I pulled 1 or 2 all-nighters in my entire college career, and I did not perform well or significantly better than had I not pulled the all-nighter. So don't do it. Sleep as much as you need to sleep. Eat. Don't let stress consume you. If you did bad, have one day, cry. My motto is one day sad, cry it out, bury myself in the floor and feel like a sack of potatoes, and the next day you get up and you keep going. Keeping yourself healthy and keeping yourself from not going insane is going to help your overall performance in school. And that was kind of it for me. Thank you for having me. I love talking to people. I wish I had someone who would have told me this in high school. And so I kind of want to do that for people. I want to be here and talk to people. So I was really excited to do this. And so, yeah, if you guys have any questions, I saw some stuff pop up here.
Yeah, would you like me to read them to you, or do you see them?
I can stop sharing my screen. Okay, yeah, I see the questions now. Okay, so what's the difference? First one is from McKay, and it's what's the difference between MD and the other one, which is DO. So there's MD, which is a medical doctor, and then there's DO, which is a doctor of osteopathic medicine. They're both practicing physicians. They both go through the same residency match as of 2020. They both go to medical school. They both see the same curriculum. The only difference is that DOs practice OMM, which is, I'll tell you that now. It's osteopathic manipulative medicine, which is actually knowing the body, the different structures of the body, in order to heal instead of going straight to medicine. So for example, if you go to the doctor for back pain and you go to a DO, DOs are less likely to prescribe you medication on your first visit, whereas MDs rely a little bit more on medicine. A DO would figure out what's hurting your back, palpate your back, touch your back, move around. What do you do on your time off? So they try to figure out more the root of the cause of the pain and try to fix it without prescribing medicine. It's just the philosophy behind the medicine. They actually get, I think it's like 200 more hours of training because they do need to know how to do OMM. But essentially it's the same. That's the only difference, the philosophy in the back. There's a little bit of stigma with DOs. DO schools, GPA and MCAT is a little bit lower because they tend to review their applicants more holistically, whereas like not as strict on the grades. Mind you, the MCAT and GPAs are still like very much competitive, but not as high as maybe an MD school would be. So yeah, I hope that kind of clarified. Do you need a certificate or license for clinical hours? So it depends on what you are looking to do. So there's 2 really common clinical positions that people do while they're in college, and it's a medical assistant or a nursing assistant, which is CNA and MA. For those 2, in most states, you do need a certification. That certification / license can be found online. But if your state does not require a certification or license, or you apply to be an MA or CNA through a private entity, so not a hospital, but more like a private practice. So like your doctor's office, basically. A lot of these places won't require you to have a license, and they will actually train you on the spot and as you go, which is really nice because I don't have any certifications. The only certification I have is like first aid, CPR, and like some research certifications because I do research. But for my clinical hours, I've actually never gotten a certification. And then shadowing, you never need a certification. And scribing, you apply through different websites through scribing. Scribe America is actually a really big one. And they make you go through like a little course and take a little exam at the end. And that's what their certification is for you. And you can scribe in emergency departments at the hospital. You can scribe literally anywhere that they need you and is around you, which is pretty cool. I'm going to do that next semester. So Cecilia, I hope that answered your question. And then Tarana, what APs do you recommend taking in high school? My favorite AP classes were AP Bio and AP Psychology. Those were the two that I really liked and I really found helpful. I never ended up taking AP Chem because I don't like chemistry. So I didn't want to put myself through AP Chem because I've heard it's a tough class and it's a tough exam. And some schools don't accept your credit unless you get a 4 or a 5. And I did not think I could get a 4 or 5 on AP Chem, so I just never took it. But if you are a very big Chem person, AP Chem, AP Bio, AP Psych is another good one. What else did I take? I think those are actually the only like science, social sciencey based APs I took. And then I also took anatomy and physiology in high school. I'm not sure if your high school offers that, but mine did. And anatomy and physiology is actually a class that's part of my major. And it helped me so much to take that in high school and then see it for a second time because it made everything so much easier. And now when I get to medical school, I'm going to see it a third time. So I always say, like, if you didn't have the chance to take A&P in high school, for sure try to take it during college because that will prepare you for the A&P that you're going to see in medical school. And of course, when you take your exams, at least for the science ones, if your goal is to get exempt from certain classes in college, take the exam seriously and try to do well. It's not the end of the world if you don't do well. I actually didn't end up taking my bio credit because I wanted to take bio in college. So it's very much preferential. It's not the end of the world if you don't get it. But if you can, of course, do well and try to get that 4 or 5, depending on what school you go to. I'm just speaking off GW because they accept 4 and 5s only. And then how does scheduling with time at hospitals and classes work? So this one's pretty tricky, I guess, because your first year for sure is pretty loaded with classes. So I would shadow on the weekends. It was something that I really wanted to do. I was really interested in shadowing, and so I sacrificed my Saturday mornings till like 2 or 3 p.m. to go to the hospital and shadow. You don't have to do that if your schedule ends up working in the way where you don't have, let's say, classes on Friday or classes at some day during the weekday. You can take that day and do it on that day. Like last semester, I didn't have classes on Friday, so I worked at the hospital on Fridays. So it's very much like guided in like with your schedule. Hospitals aren't really like looking for you. it's more like you're looking for them. And so whatever schedule that you provide them with, they're most likely going to be okay with, unless it's like a volunteer position where you need a certain amount of hours during the week. Like I know to volunteer at the Children's Hospital, I think you need like 5 hours a week. And so it doesn't matter how you spread them out, but as long as you get those 5 hours in, you're fine. So that hasn't been like bad. I don't think I've had a time where I haven't been able to do one thing because of class, except like actually like work for money, because working, they ask you for like specific hours. And then, do you know if med programs prefer hospital clinical hours over private practice clinical hours? There's no preference. They're both clinical hours. You see very different things at the hospital than you see at private practice. And so med schools consider that to be as you're still growing and you're still evolving and you're still learning different things. So it's very much what's available to you and what you do with it. I always say that. There's going to be people who are going to have 2 research positions and 3 other hospital positions, and you're going to be feeling like you are not doing anything. Everyone's journey is very much unique, and it's more of what you do with what you had. So if in your school your schedule didn't allow you to do any clinical during your first year, then what did you do with your time? You know, like what clubs were you in? What did you put your time into? What did you do in order to grow and keep showing, you know, admissions committees that you know that you're doing what you can with what you have. And so it's not much preferential between hospital or private practice. You're still in a medical setting and you're still seeing like very cool things. I think that's it for questions.
Yeah, those were the only questions that I saw in the chat. If anyone else has any question, you guys could like put it in the chat right now, or just open your mic and go ahead and ask the question. Like Anna said, this is like a really unique opportunity to have someone that's older than you and that has the experience that you guys will experience in the future, that we will experience in the future, to come talk to you and to answer your questions. So if anyone else has any questions or just comments, just pop them in the chat or just open your mic and talk.
It can be about anything. It doesn't have to be like what my presentation was about, but if you guys have any questions or concerns about college in general, you can also ask that. I know this was a lot to like take in, but it's being recorded, so hopefully you guys can go back and watch it after.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll give you one more question and then we can end the session. So this is actually something that I've been wondering about for many days now. If someone is planning on going to med school after undergrad, and that's why they choose biology as a major, let's say, but somehow something happens where they suddenly couldn't go to medical school, maybe like a family emergency, or just they lost interest in becoming a physician. What do you say they could do with that biology degree, or how do you think that could be prevented before even going into college as a high schooler?
So one of the biggest things for me is, like I said, major in something that you like, because majoring in bio won't actually guarantee you a straight direct route into medical school, because at the end of the day, me and my bio friend, for example, we're both on the pre-med track, except she takes more biologies than I do, which include plant bio, parasitology, you know, like classes that I don't take. And of course, my major includes like anatomy and physiology, kinesiology, more like body stuff that she doesn't take. But as long as we both complete our pre-medical classes in the correct time span, we can actually both go direct without really, it doesn't matter what you major in. So I always say, like, major in something that you really like. Like if you really like something that's science based, for example, me, it was health science. It ended up working out because like my major classes, they don't really overlap with my pre-med classes. Like had I not chosen a pre-med concentration, I would have still had to take all my major classes, because none of the pre-med classes are actually major requirements for my major. But I really enjoy studying the body. Like anatomy and physiology is something that I'm really passionate about. And I thought about this before, it always happens. And nowadays, the traditional straight to medical school route is actually becoming less and less common because people take time off because they're tired. People get masters like me. Other people just want to travel for a year and you know, like before they go into medical school and have to like be there 24/7. And so it's a good question because it's something that you have to think about, you know, like your first few years of college. Like, what if by year 4 of college, I don't want to go to medical school? Or what if I don't want to go straight because I want to take time off? So I thought about that my freshman year, and I said, okay, with an exercise science major, I can get a job at a physical therapy clinic. I can get a job as an athletic trainer for a high school team. I can get a job as an athletic trainer for a sports team. You know, like there are so many things that you can do with that major. So my advice is research your major and research what you can do with your major before you major in it, because there's always going to be the slight possibility that you don't go straight, even if my plan starting off was to go straight, and I'm not going to go straight. And so, you know, like the possibility is always there. So it's something really important to think about. If you're really passionate about bio, I would go online and what can you do with a bio degree? And so if you have like a slight passion with teaching, then you can work at a high school and teach bio while you're studying for your MCAT to go to medical school, you know, and you're working and making money in order to put towards your application. Or what if I'm majoring in music? I don't know. I'm like not a music major, but like, what can you do with a music major? You know, like where can you work that's going to help you? If you don't end up wanting to go to medical school, or if you end up wanting to take a couple years off. So do that research because it's important, and make sure that, you know, that you're okay with it. That if the day comes and you realize that you don't want to do medicine anymore, or that you're actually going to take 2 or 3 or 1 or 4 years off, you're going to be happy and you're going to be comfortable with having that as your major and finding a job that best suits what you majored in. Because then it'll be good, because you don't feel like you just wasted 4 years of your life doing something that is not going to work for you.
Well, thank you so much, Anna, for coming today and for answering my question and everyone else's questions. This is really helpful personally for me, and I'm pretty sure for almost all the participants here. We're really thankful that you took time out of your busy schedule and busy life to come and talk to us. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm going to drop in the chat. I have a little pre-med Instagram. You guys can follow me. It's called Road to Dr. C. I post MCAT stuff, I post class stuff, just like daily little things. If you want to just see like a day in the life, I always put a day in the life there. So you can follow me and just follow me there. And if you guys ever have any questions at all, like DM me to that account. I'm pretty good with my DMs. I try to answer them all. And yeah, thank you for having me. It means a lot that you give me this opportunity so I can talk to all of you guys.
Thank you. And for everyone here, I'll actually be resharing the Instagram that was just shared with all of you on the Remind channel, and this video will be posted on YouTube around this weekend. So again, thank you so much, Anna, and thank you all for coming to the third meeting. We're super excited that you made it, and we're super excited to have you come speak with us on this meeting.
Of course. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.